What's up everyone? As you guys can see, we're jumping back into Honkai Star. I know flip-flop, Genshin Honkai, whenever things come up, discussions arises, I like to talk about them. Today, I'm going to drive home some hopium for you guys, alright? Get this. If this is your first time here, strap yourself in because I don't want to give you guys any whiplash when it comes to how fast this hype train is about to go through everything, like literally everything. If you want Silverwolf, this is the right video for you. However, we're definitely going to be highlighting some of the things that you need to double check, right? We'll get into a little later before you decide to pull the trigger, but overall, definitely Silverwolf seems like a good character for you to invest into. Now, I did say previously some of the negatives between Silverwolf and Lotra and things that you definitely need to look out for depending on how your account is currently structured. But this video, I want to keep it, you know, more high octane for the people who are like, I'm dead set on getting Silverwolf. I don't care what anybody says, I'm getting Silverwolf. So what are some of the things you can expect from this character? So Silverwolf overall is an incredible character, and it all starts with her debuff application, right? So this character, through her talents, is able to apply a random debuff to enemies. Speed reduction, defense reduction, or attack. All three of these debuffs are incredibly valuable to any player in any run, right? Decreasing their speed means they likely will have to go slower comparative to your characters, giving them more turns, more opportunity to deal damage, which could end the fight faster. Defense is just a given, it just makes them take more damage, and it's not something that's exclusive to Silverwolf. All team members can benefit from this, and of course, reducing their attack means that even if you don't reduce their speed or defense, allowing you to do more damage, they will pose less of a threat to you. Now, in the game, obviously, you want to accelerate the speed of the game, so in my opinion, reducing the speed and reducing the defense is going to be the best options for players out there. However, attack is still just as good. If you can't one-shot the enemy, it's always good to reduce the threat that they're going to be dealing to your team. Now, moving on from this, I think a lot of people who kind of have their eyes glowing at Silverwolf is going to be talking about the additional weakness application. Now, this topic has been kind of pounded to death at this point. The fact that it was nerfed means that it's definitely not as good as it used to be. Applying 2 additional weaknesses, randomly selecting it from your team to the enemy, and on top of that, it used to last 3 turns. Now it's just applying 1 and it lasts 2 turns. However, there's a little bit of detail about this skill that we still don't know yet, and I'm going to highlight this for you. However, do note that it might be a deal breaker for some players if the calculations does turn out to be, you know, one of the worst ones. So as an example, let's say if your team, let's switch a team here, right? Let's go to this team. Do I have another lightning character? So let's say I have 3 lightning characters, and then I'm gonna slap in Silverwolf here, right? I'm definitely trying to force lightning weakness onto my enemies. So Silverwolf has Quantum herself, meaning I have 3 lightning characters and I have Silverwolf. So when it comes to the chances of applying this weakness to the enemies, what are the ratios here? Is it 25% per character slot, meaning everybody has equal chance of being selected? So if it selects Yun, then lightning. If it selects Arlen, then lightning, right? If it selects Jingyuan, then lightning. So totally, there's a 75% chance for me to apply a lightning debuff, and there's only one of Silverwolf, meaning Quantum, meaning there's a 25% chance that Silverwolf is going to select Quantum. Now, this is under the assumption that the enemies are not weak to lightning or Quantum. So that could be a way that people could try to potentially put Silverwolf into teams to force weaknesses onto the enemies. Amazing, right? 75% chance. That's pretty damn good, honestly, in my opinion, and I think I would take that any day. Of course, Silverwolf does a bunch of other things. We're going to be talking about more her kit advantages that you can leverage in fight, but let's just talk about this. Ideal scenario is 75% chance for lightning, 25% chance for Quantum. However, what if I present you another situation? Is that the fact that there's only lightning and Quantum in the team, so now it's 50 and 50, right? So what if the system of Silverwolf's mechanic now counts 50% chance lightning, 50% chance Quantum? So let's just take Arlen out. So let's say if then we have this, then it would be 33.333%. Branya is 33.333%, meaning like wind is 33. So what I'm saying is, how does it calculate how it's going to select which element gets chosen? Are the elements the one that are being singled out as X element, right? Lightning, Quantum, or lightning, wind, Quantum, or are the characters the one that Silverwolf selects? Because depending on which way her ability is calculated, this could really be a detriment to how people can enjoy her, because if it is the latter, right, if it is the 50-50 or the 33-33-33, then this character suddenly starts becoming much less desirable, because it'll become way harder to pair her outside of her quantum teams. However, I want to believe that Hoyoverse is a smart company. If it turns out to be the latter, her rerun is not going to be nearly as successful as if it's the first one, right? Don't let such a small thing trip you up, Hoyoverse. And also the people who are watching, I'm pretty sure it's the first one, but it's just something to consider when it comes out. Maybe wait for like a day and don't just jump in thinking you're gonna be like getting something amazing. However, if it is the first option, then congratulations. I think people, you know, if you want to pull for it, definitely go for it. However, we talked about her most important aspect, or the most popular aspect of her kit. Now let's talk about how she functions as a character in most compositions, right? Which, let's go back to the Seele composition. There's many ways to play her, and now most popularly people are going to be pairing her with Seele. Like, they're just a match made in heaven, and I think that eventually a 4 quantum team playstyle for Seele with Silverwolf is going to be an absolute win, right? That's going to be the one and only true Silverwolf team. However, talking about Silverwolf's ultimate ability, this is a very powerful ability to us, because applying additional shred on enemies, debuffing them, is different from buffing. Because let's say a character such as Tingyun, who selects a unit to buff, she herself doesn't really get that buff. It's one unit on your entire team that can benefit from this buff. And as you guys may already know, that Honkai Star Rail, when played at the highest level, everybody on your team needs to contribute, right? Everything needs to kind of work simultaneously together to contribute to the win. Yes, your DPS characters are always going to be the one dishing out maybe like 70-80% of the damage, but that doesn't mean the rest of your team doesn't matter. Debuffing enemies, in fact, think about it as a buff for your whole team, because everybody gets to take advantage of that debuff. That's why, let's say if Hoyoverse decided to design Silverwolf as like an AoE debuffer, it's way too OP, right? Right now, some of the buffers that are at the top of their game, such as Bronya, are the ones who are able to give team-wide buffs through her ultimate abilities, and she is incredibly strong in that manner, and that's why she's one of the best characters. Of course, letting your characters kind of skip the line, also removing debuffs from them, is valuable as well. However, team-wide buffs right now, you just don't really have characters that can rival Bronya. So now going back to a character like Silverwolf, her specialty is going to be single target debuffing. Now, another good thing about Silverwolf is that when you apply her ultimate on enemies, the defense shred goes first, followed by the damage. So Silverwolf herself is also going to provide quite a bit of supportive DPS capability. I think as the game ramps up, enemies become tougher and tougher to fight and combat, it's going to be important that more and more of your team members start adding more damage. Think about Silverwolf right now. She's definitely going to be doing a good amount of damage. On top of that, Locha's coming out that scales off of attack, also going to be adding a ton of damage. It just leaves my head to wonder what could possibly be in the memory of chaos for them to want to add so much more damage options into your teams. I think at the end of the day, when Honkai Star Rail evolves into its final form, or like a more matured form, there are no really weak links on your team, right? Everybody should be providing damage support, because every single turn matters, such as Tingyun, when she's not buffing your team, her auto attacks, her slaps, and also her conjoint attack through her talents should be providing more DPS to facilitate team overall output. Silverwolf is amazing for that. So let's just pretend in this scenario that Silverwolf applies quantum. Let's go back to the team, right? I'm just trying to ease you guys into this, because I don't want you guys thinking after watching some of the videos like Silverwolf is going to be a terrible character. So let's say we have a 3 lightning. Let's say Silverwolf is the only quantum and she does end up applying quantum. Let's say you targeted onto the boss. That's not the end of the world, because Silverwolf is still going to additionally strike the enemy with the quantum weakness herself, and that's still going to be breaking a ton of the shield, because at the end of the day, breaking that shield is incredibly important, and it doesn't matter if she applied lightning or quantum. She is going to help you move forward to that ultimate goal. So think of it like this: Silverwolf should be considered a DPS alternative slash debuffer, and that's a very important role to fill into the game right now. I know people who are playing Sealy, people who are playing hyper carries don't have a really grounded concept of a multi-source of damage on your team compositions, but I guarantee you will have to be forced to evolve your accounts in that manner, meaning that if you don't pick up Silverwolf, you're going to find other ways to fit supportive DPS characters into your team regardless, and having a Silverwolf like character applying direct debuff onto a selected enemy, and even if you kind of fail selecting your lightning in this case weakness onto the enemy, you apply quantum. Silverwolf herself should be still dealing a ton of damage, and also using her talent ability apply an additional random weakness debuff onto the enemy. Remember, attack, defense, or speed. Now it did say any attack right when they did the live stream, so meaning that auto attacks should also be able to apply this talent debuff. So that's also something I don't hear nearly as much people talking about. Silverwolf has so many things going for her kit that it's not just about the weakness debuff, right? And if you guys are curious, we can also talk about her lycones, but I'm not going to oversurge you with information in this video. Just know that right now, from the theory crafters I've talked to, her free-to-play lycone is so damn good to the point where, like, if you are playing the event, playing the game right now, you can get that free-to-play lycone. There's no need to pick up her signature lycone. Truly, Honkai has been treating the free-to-play players extremely well, because through Genshin Impact, I think Honkai has figured out that whales are going to whale, right? People who want to spend money, they're going to spend money. They don't need to make the signature lycone so much better. It just have to be better, of course, than the free-to-play option. Slightly better, not insanely better. Don't make that gap so big and make free-to-plays feel like, oh, you know, there's such a big difference and I can never catch up. Honestly, the S5 free-to-play lycone is so incredibly well synergized for Silverwolf that free-to-play players should rejoice to the heavens and back. And even if you're not playing, let's say, Silverwolf, you're playing someone like Pella, amazing. Other Nihility characters can also use this. So people, knock yourself out. I think 1.1 is going to be a banger patch, regardless if you want to pull Silverwolf or not. I'm going to pull her on a rerun. That's also a very smart decision. Honestly, right now, you should be beefing up your accounts in other ways, right? It doesn't matter how much debuff you can apply on enemies. If you don't have DPS to capitalize on that, obviously this is not going to work. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a pretty hype video for me to make. I do think Silverwolf has a lot going for her. Don't let my previous video make you think that she's a bad character, because some people have been messaging me saying, Walrus, I think you're kind of sending out the wrong message, making Silverwolf sound bad or unwanted, unneeded. Now, don't get me wrong, on the other side, she's not a must pull, but at the same time, she's by no means weak. Very powerful character, gonna help you guys clear a lot of difficult content, especially with really beefed up enemies. We're gonna even be able to cheese some enemies that you probably cannot defeat had you not had her in a Sealy team, for example. Really looking forward to testing her out myself. I'm gonna be pulling her definitely, and actually we're gonna be going live earlier today on the live stream, so if you made it all the way to the end of the video, I'll see you guys a little later in the afternoon. Well, at least for my time. Till then, urge you to stay safe. Peace. Bye.